So we expose things that we call paint or render times in all kinds of places right now. First contentful paint and first paint have start time. The event timing has a duration which ends at the paint. Long animation frame has a duration that ends at something. Largest contentful paint and element timing have render time. All this is nice. In the end, there are only two. This is only two timestamps. In the grand scheme of things, for the sake of being less confusing, let's call them when the handover and the presentation. The handover is when this document hands over the painting to the browser and nothing is observable anymore. There are no more events. This happens after style and layout, after resize observer callbacks, after fixing up the focus, all that in sometimes we call it commit, whatever. After that point, there's all kinds of things that happen. The green part, internally in the browser, rasterizing, compositing, all kinds of fancy things that are not exactly well observable. And at the end of that, there is present. Now, long animation frame, the end time of the duration is that handover time. However, all the other paint times are like different in Chromium and in the other browsers and also in the spec. In the spec and in other browsers, they are the handover time, and in Chromium, they are the presentation time. Which creates like a interoperability problem. So something about the presentation timestamp is that because it happens after things that are not exactly standard, they're just like how the browser paints, we can't really define them in an interoperable way. Their implementation defined by definition. The question is it okay to have implementation defined timestamps in web exposed APIs? So we do have two of those already. The timestamp you receive in the request animation frame callback is some form of an implementation defined timestamp of when the render opportunity was available. The event timestamp of UI events, of clicks and touch, etc. It's also implementation defined. It's defined also in hardware kind of in hardware kind of way, not in like a spec algorithmic way. So yeah, we do have those, but it makes it hard to do things like compare browsers apples to apples. And some people saw this as a problem. We also think that those timestamps are very important UX-wise. We can't make them interoperable apples to apples, but like comparative between browser, but we still find them important and valuable to users because users can use them for regression off their own page, and browser can use them to benchmark themselves. It's two very valuable things that we can't do with only interoperable timestamps. So the alternatives we can have is just have a non-interoperative timestamp. We can also not specify it, and Chromium would still expose it because it's valuable for us. We don't like having too many things like that in the web, but sometimes it's better to be transparent about it. We can also be more explicit about namings, call it user agent specific paint end or something. It's ugly, but it's at least doesn't create expectation of, or we can call it blink presentation time, most presentation time, whatever, just to set expectation that those are not comparable. I'm not sure if it's necessary. What we are specifically proposing is to have those 2 timestamps everywhere in all those different entries. To call it paint time and presentation time. Always call them that in long animation frame, in paint timing, in element timing, large contentful paint, and event timing. All of them will just have those 2, and they always mean the same thing. And the current things like the duration and the paint timing start time and the render time would go to one or the other to do the maximum between them. This is it. You can stop the presentation. Let's discuss.